thank you guys for being on board and being with the webinar. We're going to have a webinar today with Arden and Greenius. The way you guys remember to log in is go to protradenet.com. You would hit login at the top, click login here. You would then go to either find a vendor or preferred vendor tab and scroll through and find them. I like to just type it in. And then you'll click on Greenius. This is how you get to her information. Always definitely give her a call if you have any questions about anything that we're going to be going over. They do have a 12.5% rebate back to you guys, and they have great special pricing as well. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Arden and give her the power, and we're going to see her screen, and we'll get this thing going.
All right. Are you able to see my screen, Jennifer? I'm going to assume that everybody can. Okay. Welcome, everybody. The president of Greenius, and we are currently serving just over 600 clients throughout North America. Grounds Guys has actually been a part of our program over the years. It's just taken up to this point in order for us to get something that's going to be highly beneficial to the entire group, franchise group. And just to lend a little bit of perspective there, the pricing for Greenius is, first of all, the pricing with the Grounds Guys, the agreement we've come to is highly confidential because it's at probably a third of the rate of, there's basically 2/3 off based on companies of similar size in the industry. Anybody that has over a certain number of employees, probably over 15, it's even less expensive because you're still paying the same rate. So that's the only thing I would ask is that is, you know, based on the code of ethics and such, that that this is not disclosed to other landscaper buddies that you may have, because it just gets them infuriated and gets me phone calls. So I'd rather skip that. So Jennifer, you want me to show the system? Is there anything you wanted to ask me so that I can help direct this conversation?
I think it would be great if you could do a testimonial or a tutorial and any testimonials that you have from any other Grounds Guys. I know I do have a few and that love Greenius, so a tutorial through the system would be great.
Perfect. Okay, that's what we'll spend a little bit of time. This will only take about 15 minutes. I do have my eyeball on the question box, so if there is anything you want to clarify or look further into, by all means, stop me. I'll also at the same time show you how to navigate this, so if you want to take a look at this in a closer way, once we've hung up, then you're able to get there. So I'm going to start with the website, and just to give you some heads up there. So go to, when you log into gogreenius.com, sample videos, there are sample videos right here. And all you have to do is click on those, and it's going to give you an example of that video, probably about 10 pages. So you just click on any video that you want to view. If you want to check them out in Spanish, just go to Espanol, and then just do the very same thing. Now, if you want to see what it is that we do have to offer, and the one thing I made as far as, I made this the best possible deal that we could have as far as not just pricing. You're looking at about $83 a month, roughly, just to give you an idea, plus you'll get your rebate on top of that. Okay, so, and in that will include, now, construction, maintenance, snow, and general videos. If you're Canadian, there's Canadian regulatory package that's also included. It is not applicable to the U.S., and I'm just guessing that most of the people on this webinar are American, so they can ask me about that separately, but that would be included. So all the videos there, I believe there's 32, and the supervisor package, which is separate and is usually $300 a piece. Buying the system's worth it just for this package because I'm including two subscriptions, and they're normally $300 a piece, and they're at no charge. So that's also included in your $83 a month, and that would allow you to give at least 2 people in key roles, ops managers, even yourselves, some very good intel that is specific to this industry. And so these are the 8 topics that are specific to them. Okay, so that's the video list. Tailgate Talks is another good component of the system, and I'll show you in a minute what main pieces there are: video exam and checklist. Something that's great for ongoing would be Tailgate Talks. And if landscapers haven't done anything right. This is the one thing they've done quite right over the years, is to utilize tailgate talks. This just helps you organize it. The list is right there. So they're very broad subjects of all sorts of topics here, and they're all available now English only, and they're currently being translated into Spanish. I anticipate that they'll be ready in the fall, just because there's so many of them, and we have to build a tool to allow you to see both the English and the Spanish. So just you could take a look at that at your leisure. The idea would be to take how many weeks you have in the year, or your season, if there's, you know, if you're more seasonal of the 8 months nature, in the 8-month nature, there you pick out 32 topics, you line them up, you send them to your crew leaders, and that's what you expect them to do weekly on top of the rest of the system and other trainings you may have. You can check out the testimonials here. That's just the general testimonials of all companies that use us, and I believe that Jennifer has some specific ones for you. And any other, if you want to drill down on information. Pricing's not listed on our website, just basically talk about how we are subscription-based. That's usually a more involved conversation, so that's why we don't put that. Okay, so that's just a real brief overview. Anybody have any questions on that before we move on? Just type them into the box, or we can come back to it at the end.
Yeah, we could
Looks like
possibly
that's
do
pretty
a
straightforward.
Q&A at the end. Yeah, that'd be good.
Okay. All right. So I have approximately about a half an hour left. So this will only take about 10, 15 minutes. I am not going to drill down to all the tools. There's just too much. I don't want to get too in depth. It's overwhelming. Just going to give you a nice overview of how this would work. So there's 2 places to log in. Everybody logs in to use the system based right off of our website. This is where the employees would go, and this, as a manager owner, this is where you would go if you do hand this off to somebody, which I suggest you do, and get yourself a champion of this, some point person that you're looking to promote, maybe pay them a little more so that they'll handle this and make sure that it gets done. Owners are very, very busy with many, many things on their plate, and so I always try to dissuade owners from doing this unless there's no choice. So again, best to hand it off. So everybody has a login, even if you had managers. Hang on, that's not the company I want. Even if you have managers, they all can have their own unique sign-in. Most of it is a first initial last name. There's nothing really super confidential in here. No credit card storage, no personal information on the employees. And so you don't have to be too concerned about that. And so now, the interface is changing. We're improving this in a huge way, and that will happen sometime in the fall. So this is just what it looks like for right now. But going forward, it's going to be much more current and new. We've had the same sort of face since our beginning. We've just added tools as we've built the system up. So the main thing that you will use here would be adding employees. So say you have now, when you become a client of ours, the actual setup and the training on the system, we do. So you can give us a list of your employees. We'll add them in. We'll assign the training you want them to have. We'll help you set everything up so that you're not on your own. And you'll be able to use it right away versus buying it and then delaying it. So we make sure that process happens quickly, and we stick handle it or quarterback it because we want it to go smoothly for you. So I'll just put Jennifer's name in here. So that you're entering employees' names here. You can use this so that you have record of when the person started, but it's not mandatory. Jennifer, what's your email?
It's jennifer.dawson@protradenet.com.
Now, if you put the email address in there, all the instructions will come directly to the person. They'll go directly to the person. Our new interface that's coming will also have a texting feature because the young folk use texting far more than they do email. So that's coming in the next round of changes to the system. So you just enter it in. You see that Jennifer ended up here. So as you're entering people, the list is being shown so that you don't lose track of where you are. You select the manager. These are all things we set up at the beginning when we are setting you up. Now, these categories here are things that you decide what you want. You're going to say, Arden, we have maintenance English, we have maintenance Spanish, And so at the very beginning of the setup, we will set up your categories that you want to call your teams of people, and then you will select which videos that you automatically want them to take, which will create a mandate. So these ones on the maintenance 1 category that I've created will automatically select these 6 videos, and you're still welcome to go in there and add whatever you want. You set the date of completion. We'll give those people till Friday, and then the person will show up in the system. So now Jennifer's entered into the database. This would be just like if you had your own username and password. When you're putting it in there, you will also end up in there. Your people will end up. And these are all the things you can do for that person. So you can just simply print their training instructions and hand it to them. It's moving too slow. So you can simply print them and hand it to them. So the person that's involved, Jennifer being my employee, this is where you go on the website. This is the number. I'll keep that and show you. This is what you've assigned them, and this is when it is due. So they're very clear on what they got to do. So that's giving them instructions. You can view the history for Jennifer. All these have been assigned. If she's passed them, they will all show passed on, and the date will be there. Our future interface will store the records year over year so that you're only ever looking at the current year. Right now, if you were to look at a longer-term employee, it would actually show all the years they've been with us, which is just too much data. So we're going to have it over on the side, all the other years. So if you ever want records for anyone, especially like things like lawsuits, which are often 2-3 years down the road, you'll always have the records in storage for that person. Okay, so that's what it looks like when you add an employee. Everybody's stored alphabetically. So the list of people that you store and you want to see who everybody is, you can just go to My Employees, and here is everybody alphabetically. The green is just the stuff you've assigned, and the gray are things that you haven't assigned. If you do want to assign something to them, you just click, okay, I want them to do Mini-X, and now Mini-X is now going to show up when they log in. So that part's pretty easy. So the history. Recertification tool is for next year. You want to train them again. It just will give you what it is that they have to do again, and you simply use their same number year over year. You can get them to do some of the same, and you can add ones to that. Okay, so don't want to dive too deep there. You can search by name, anybody. You can search by their category or their due, and same by the manager. If you have 10 managers, you can filter it by the manager and everybody that reports to that particular manager. Okay, so I was going to show you a checklist. All right, so anybody who's completed the training and passed it, and you get to create the score. So if you want them to get an 80%, you will, at the beginning when we set you up, that's what you tell us. 80% will give them the opportunity to get 3 wrong out of 15. Anything they get wrong, they will have to do the exam again, and it's a different exam. So conceivably, you could have 10 people in the same room, all with different exam questions. So anybody who's done that and completed the training and passed it, when you go modules ready to print, see this particular person has completed 3. So this is what a checklist looks like. So you get video exam, preferably let them do that on their own at home, especially this time of year, ladies and gentlemen, get them to do it before they report for work. It would be laborious to do it in-house unless you absolutely have to, and the only time I recommend that is if you have a large Hispanic workforce that might have issues with their own language, with reading. Anybody with large Hispanic workforces, we always suggest to do it as a group, and we have a group training feature for that. But many, many, many of our accounts have Hispanic and American or Caucasian, and they just get them to do them at home prior to showing up for work. So once they've completed the videos, their name will be here. This is the score they got on 0 turn. This is the date they took it. And this is what a checklist looks like. So this is the 3rd component of the system. After the video exam, this part is to be done at the shop or really, quite frankly, on site. Nothing wrong with doing this stuff on site, and nothing more than clients like than to show that the people that are working on their site are properly trained. So a lot of our clients do it right on site. Show me what you should check before starting the mower is what this crew leader would ask the person. And these are the things that they have to make sure, like they're saying to them, show me what you should do before starting it. They have to understand, make sure the discharge chute is down, make sure there's enough fuel and oil because you don't want to fuel a hot engine if you don't have to. So these are the key points. This is an editable form if you think it's too long or too short or you want to add points to it. There is an editing tool in the system itself that you can do that for. Okay, so that's it. And then when it's complete, when it's complete, it goes to yellow. And Safe Certified, that will show up on a diploma. So Rex Bishop has completed 2. If he's completed 20, a lot of companies have ceremonies and congratulatory affairs with the other employees to make sure that they're recognized for their achievement. More of a feel-good thing. And, a lot of people don't necessarily have a high school diploma, and this gives them some credence and some credibility. Okay, so that's that. Let me think here. Edit employee details is strictly a feature if you're looking to change or to view. At a glance, you can see this person's done 1 out of 6 assigned. So the managers of the crews or the crew leaders can look into their own crews and see who's done what at a glance. And at this point, you can see the details. And if they change managers, for instance, or you want to make any changes, assign new training, you can do it here. This will also show you once they've completed the exam how many times they passed and failed. Anybody taking it too many times is either struggling or cheating. So that's a good way to verify that. I'm just going to go quickly up here. So this year we've not only recoded all of 65 videos that we have, including other industries, we've also made the entire system digital, including the paperwork that you see. So the paperwork that you see that I'm showing you, the checklists and the tailgates, are also all digital. So if they have smartphones, all the paperwork can be done there. So just pretend this is a phone. This isn't formatted for my computer, but this would be formatted for any phone of any type, Blackberries, Androids, iPhones, etc. So when they click on tailgates and you've told them they have this particular tailgate to do, they're going to talk about backing up today, their crew will show up because at the outset, we'll help you set up your crews and assign them their manager. So, and when the manager logs in, his guys are there. So we're just going to take attendance. Those 2 guys are going to get a coffee, so they missed it. And then just start tailgate. And then every time you make a point, don't forget to sound your horn, people. Don't forget to back up slowly. Make sure that your spotter, you can see your spotter in the mirror. Make sure you set up barricades. Refer to your company's policies and procedures if you're unsure. And then the supervisor signs on their behalf. And would you like to take care of another one? You say no, and then you might do a checklist. I know I'm going a little quick here, but not to worry because if you ever need to go through this, we take you through it much slower. You're going to do defensive driving. There's actually nobody in there that needs it. You can go to your company directory and add people. And continue and start checklist. And every time you make a point or you're asking them this question and they're making a point, it crosses it out. There's 11 pages here, so I won't go through all that. I just wanted to skip over and show you the digital aspects of the system. Okay, so there's all sorts of reporting tools in here. There's a tailgate library, brand new reporting system here, so you will be able to look and see who's done the last 30 days, who's done the last year, which ones have been done and completed. So these ones in the last year, these have been done and completed, and it tells the names of the people who have done and completed them. So that report's literally 5 hours old. We just had that done this week, and a lifetime of all. Okay, so you have records that are stored and a way to report that for your tailgates. Now you have your checklists. Group trainings, the only other feature I'll show you. The rest are just reporting tools and settings and stuff. And when you do group training, every time you add somebody in here under Add Employee, they appear alphabetically in this group. So when you want to do something together, let me just, okay, there it is. I'm just going to close your eyes for a second. Yeah, okay. You select two names because those are two people you want them to do it together. They've got these four in common. You actually name your group, so you can go engines and fuel, June 2017, so that you know how to, when you recall the group from the storage, that you know when they took it. So you're going to do engines and fuel. These two people are taking it, and it'll continue to their handouts. So if you're in a room with a projector and a computer, all you have to do is, generate the ID. Sorry, forgot that step. All you have to do is put this ID into the box, the same as an individual one, and John Akers and Mary Ellen Ardema will both get credit in the system for those, for completing those together. And I should show you, based on that, for login, this is where an employee goes. If you're Spanish, you would go here. If you're English, you go here. And the number that we took when I created Jennifer's is the one we're going to log into. And it says, welcome, Jennifer. She just has to click truck and trailer and begin. And this will begin the video. Hope that wasn't too quick.
No, I think that was great. This is all very organized, and I think that it's going to be very helpful for new franchisees, maybe who just buying a grounds guys and not quite knowing all of the ins and outs and the safety. You know, I think that is just, this is really, really nice and organized, and I love it.
The bottom line going forward, whether it's me or other systems, is that systems win the day. Processes win the day. People who are putting those things in place don't have to be focused and concerned about those. They have a system, they assign a person to run it, they carry on, and they work on their business. I travel all over the country with consultants, and we also see a lot of landscape company owners in that mix. And so I get to see everything from $5 to $100 million companies, and that's what wins the day. That's my observation over the last 8 years, are people that put things in place to help their businesses run more smoothly. Jennifer, that's just my experience. So that's pretty much it for the system itself. Again, that's pretty much how long it takes to show you. It doesn't take much longer to train you. The difference is we hold your hand at the beginning so that it goes and you have proper execution. Anyone who uses other softwares right now, LMNs of the world or Aspire and those other types, it's not as robust because we're only one aspect of an operation. So that's it for that. Any questions, Jennifer?
So if you have a question for Arden or myself, please feel free.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. Could you go over what the supervisor training ones are again? And you said 2 were included, and I don't know if were you talking about 2 of the line items are included, or 2 supervisors are included in the package?
It's unlimited. Yes, unlimited use on the equipment side of things. So all of your guys, doesn't matter how many, if you use it to, say, screen applicants as you put in your advertising, when you're advertising for people to work for you, training will be provided. Is extremely powerful for people who are intimidated to using equipment they've never used before. So lots of our clients use that. And so that is what you get unlimited use for as far as the system goes. Supervisors, you don't get 2 of these. You get 2 full packages of these.
Okay.
So you get you get 8 videos times 2. So if you want to do a set for yourself, you would get these 8. You enter your name in, just like I showed you in the system for equipment training. Same thing. You assign those to yourself and maybe one of your key people. If you have more than that, then you come directly to me to purchase, but at least I give you 2 sets, like a $600 value for you just to measure the value yourself. If you think it's valuable, then you'll come back to me and say, Arden, that was really awesome. We need 2 more, and it goes like that.
Okay.
Now, as long as you're paying the money continuously, you will get on the renewal or that 1 year mark, you'll get 2 more. So it'll roll like that because you're getting everything else again. Then I would just continuously let you do that too. Anything else?
Arden, what's stopping an owner from having 3 or 4 people watching the same videos and then logging in and afterwards and either, typing it in and saying that they did it? What's keeping them from doing that? Do they have to have their own login?
Yes. Yes, and you know what? There's no upside. First of all, anyone who's completed the training, would want to have their own accounting for the fact that they did it. And if they're under anybody else's name, it wouldn't even make any kind of sense as far as anybody wanting to do that,
Right.
because they will be given a separate ID. Now, if guys were doing it together, they still can't do it together because the videos let them do it together. If they want to help each other, that's fine. But say they're at their house and 2 guys are over visiting, the thing is the exams will come up differently for everybody once they get to the exam portion.
Okay, that's what I was wondering, if the exams are all the same. So that's nice that they're different.
Right, they're different. Some of them might end up being the same because there's only so many combinations. The bottom line is that the exam is only one portion of the whole thing. Once you get down to the checklist, once you get down to a place where people have to actually know what they're doing, that's where you divide the people from who cheat or don't really get it. Some people go through all that and they still don't get it, right? So this is just a learning tool to help them get it. So if they get to this point, like here, for instance, large walk, and they have to go through this checklist, this is what's going to help them understand what they need to know. So it's a learning part. It's not even a pass-fail part, this one. This is strictly making sure that they know how to do everything and that they understand the piece of equipment. And quite honestly, there's a declaration saying that they've been shown. And then there's the supervisor saying, I have shown them. So you got a really solid piece of legal documentation here. One of my clients had a pretty serious accident by a new person. 65% of everything happens between the ages of 18 and 24 and in the first 6 months of working. This young fella was on a hill with a small walk, and it was slippery, and he slipped, and he almost sliced his leg off. He was just dangling there. And so, of course, workman's comp's involved, and it's pretty serious, medical bill. But his rates didn't go up. He still had to go down that road, but his rates didn't go up because he went to the workman's comp, and he showed them all of the checklists, and they were signed. So, not saying that counts for everything, but the bottom line is you got a lot more of a leg to stand on, no pun intended, when you've got something documented.
And there's one of those checklists for each of those videos that they watch, is that correct?
Correct. Every single video for every single person has a checklist. Okay. And again, when I showed you early on the online version, that one can be done together in a group, and then they just sign off each person when they're doing it collectively as a group.
Okay.
Anything else?
Yeah, I think this is
It
great.
might be just that straightforward.
Yeah.
That's great.
Okay, I appreciate everybody's
time.
Yeah, so if you guys need anything, feel free to always reach out to Arden, and she's got a great team behind her, so if she's not available, she'll definitely have somebody jump on and answer any questions. So feel free to reach out to me. If you can't get a hold of her, I can try to answer questions as well. But as far as keeping everybody on time, I appreciate it, and if you need anything, feel free to reach out. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for all your time. Appreciate it. Hope to talk to some of you in the future.